What's going on, everybody? Wood Talk Sports is back again with another mock draft. We just had 6.0 last week. This is 7.0 this week. You could probably call this post free agency. All the second part free agents are kind of gone. There's still some good amount of free agents still available. One of my key ones I like to point out is Justin Simmons, who has been a phenomenal safety in the past few years, which is surprising to see that nobody wants to sign him right now. Yes, he's been in the league for a decent amount of years for a safety, but we don't got to get too much into that. As we are here for the mock drafts, a lot of stuff, in my opinion, will be changing. A lot of stuff stays the same. Obviously, the biggest thing is now that we know Chicago is going to solidify themselves as the Caleb Williams getter because Justin Fields was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a conditional 6th-round pick that can go up to a 4 if he plays 51% or more snaps in next season, which is very unlikely with Russell Wilson also as a Steeler. So Caleb Williams is going to be number 1 overall to the Chicago Bears now. But before we get started, real quick, I want to remind you, if you're not subscribed already, make sure to press that subscribe button and like this video as well if you enjoy it. The subscribing really helps me out. We hit 128, I think, right now. Hit over 100 in a month, which was fantastic to hear and just to see happen. So I want to make this keep going, and I want to try and hit 200 by the end of April, which is a month and a half away, and I think it's very possible. So hit that subscribe button if you enjoy these and my content, enjoy these videos, because it's free and you'll be seeing more of this. So and then we're gonna hop right into it now with number 1 overall pick. I just said it. It's gonna be Caleb Williams. It's undisputable now. Unless all of a sudden they decide Caleb Williams isn't their guy and then they go Jaden Daniels or Drake May, which is very, very unlikely. Caleb Williams is their guy now. He's basically proved it, and they've basically proved it by trading. He's proved that he's the number 1 guy in the draft. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Now, number 2, I'm going to stick with who I think is really the higher up on the Washington Commanders board. That is going to be Jaden Daniels from LSU, Heisman winner in this last season. I think it's really not debatable that he's a top 3 draft pick because I think these 3 teams will go quarterback. But Jaden Daniels is just, it seems like he's higher up on that board for Washington compared to Drake May, and that Washington really likes Daniels. So it seems like Daniels is the better fit for them. They signed Mariota, who you go and get maybe your rookie quarterback fits a similar scheme or play style like Mariota and Jaden Daniels. And then, as I've always said, Cliff Kingsbury offense with Jaden Daniels I think would be fantastic. So that's going to be my number 2 overall pick. Number 3 to the Patriots, sticking QB. We're going Drake May out of North Carolina. What can I say? He's one of the top 3 guys in this draft when it comes to QB. And he's one of the top guys in this draft. He's got the Justin Herbert build. Is he a Justin Herbert player? No, but he's gonna build into it possibly. He's good. I think he's good, and he'll be good enough for the Patriots, and he'll be crucial for this Patriots team. So I'm gonna have him going number 3 to New England. At number 4 to the Cardinals. Nothing new. He's on the board. People think that maybe Cardinals trade down. Don't see it happening, especially when this fantastic of a prospect is available. It's Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the best wide receiver prospects we've seen in a long time. One of my favorite things I've seen is everybody saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is ready to run the family business. And he is ready to run the family business known as football when it comes to the Harrison family. His father was a great wide receiver. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be just that. And Kyler Murray gets himself his true generational wide receiver 1. Next pick, we're going to be trading. And it shows the team that's interested as the team that's going to be trading. I think the Vikings loaded up on this first round pick because they want to get something back. They want to use it and maybe have firepower to trade up. Maybe the Patriots decide they want to trade back. They go up there, get Drake May. But I think the reason I'm going to have him going, and I think they're going to have to give up their 2 first-rounders here. That's why I'm going to force this, not do everything deep into it. Minnesota is probably worried that New York is going to be willing to draft J.J. McCarthy. The rumor is that they are looking and they're saying, hey, we might get J.J. McCarthy if he's available. It's the rumor around the NFL. And I mean, yes, it's only just a rumor, but I think the Vikings load up on this draft so they can jump up and make sure a team like New York or a team like Denver or maybe Las Vegas, tries to trade up for McCarthy or tries to trade up for someone else. So Minnesota's got 2 first-round picks this year, and that's going to be the most valuable thing. So I think they're going to trade up, and they're going to get J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. Now, his sample size is his only downside, but that's really about it to me. I mean, I did my draft profile on him. If you haven't watched it, I think I've said this many times. Go watch it. His sample size is a big problem. His weight was a big problem. He was 203 at Michigan, but he weighed in at 219. Shows that he's able to put on that muscle and put on weight when it is asked of him. So I think he's a good quarterback. I think when he gets the opportunity, it's good. And putting him in a fantastic situation like Minnesota is going to be great for his development. So J.J. McCarthy, number 5 overall, to the Vikings. Now number 6 to the Giants. Last mock draft, I had Rome Odunze going here. And that was because I had the Chargers staying at 5 and going Malik Nabers, which is very, very possible. It's very possible it could go QB, 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 wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Now, with this one, I think the Chargers will trade back and get those 2 first-round picks, the 11th and the 23rd, and that's because I think they can get some more firepower with that. And at number 6, though, for the Giants, we're going to go Malik Nabers from LSU, top 3 wide receiver prospect alongside Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze. And you look at those 3. I mean, I think Harrison's the one, and then Nabers and Odunze are probably 2A, 2B. You can't really go wrong with either of them. Depends on what they really want. I think Odunze is the better contested catch ball getter type of player. Malik Nabers is he's just also a phenomenal athlete. I think Malik Nabers is a better wide receiver, but Odunze is a better contested receiver. So I'm gonna go Malik Nabers for the Giants, and I think quarterback in round 2 is in play for New York. Especially because their top 4 is off the board. They're not going to jump and take Bo Nix or Penix at number 6. That would be absolutely absurd. So I'm going to have to go Malik Nabers here to the Giants at number 6, and quarterback is in play in the 2nd round. Number 7 to the Titans. They were making some moves this offseason. They've been signed Tony Pollard, signed Calvin Ridley, and I think the wide receiver question is still evident. I mean, even though they have Hopkins and Ridley, I think there's a world where they could go Nabers if he drops to 7, or Odunze if he's still available. But I think Joe Alt is the right way to go, protecting Will Levis and helping Tony Pollard. By building a good offensive line. I mean, Tony Pollard played against a good offensive line last year with Dallas, but helping him stay in a good situation is pretty vital. So Joe Alt at number 7 to the Titans. Now at number 8 to the Falcons. This is probably my most consistent one. That has not changed. It changed once, and that's because 5.0 was my big let's mix a lot of stuff up. Let's see what's going on. Like I had Dallas Turner to the Cardinals and Drake May to the Falcons. But yeah, Dallas Turner is going to be a Atlanta Falcon. I mean, they solved the quarterback problem with Kirk Cousins. So they're not going to worry about trying to maybe get a quarterback in the draft, maybe get a guy later in the draft, be a backup like a Jordan Travis, a Michael Pratt, a Joe Milton, like one of those guys, Sam Hartman. But I think Dallas Turner's the perfect pick here at number 8. I think if he's still available, Chicago goes with him at 9. But I think Turner's the right pick at number 8 for the Falcons. So first defensive player off the board after 7 straight offensive players at number 8 to the Falcons in Dallas Turner. Now at number 9 to the Bears. This one I've been contemplating about because it's like, do I switch it up, go D-line? Do I take Jared Verse? I did Byron Murphy last time. I think I would lean more towards edge rusher to pair up a guy with Montez Sweat if I was to go defensive line. And they did just get Keenan Allen from a trade. They still have DJ Moore. They lost Darnell Mooney. I think even with getting Keenan Allen, my beliefs and my thought is that they stick with wide receiver and get Rome Odunze because Keenan Allen's still been in the league for a bit. So I think Rome Odunze is the safe bet here because you're still getting one of the best prospects in the entire draft at number 9 in Rome Odunze. And I mean, if he doesn't go to Chicago, I think he goes right after to New York. But something's going on with my mock drafts recently. Cameras, they just keep cutting out. But Rome Odunze, I think, is the right pick for Chicago at 9. Getting depth and getting a true wide receiver, a third wide receiver for Caleb Williams would be big. And now at number 10, I've been going to Olufashanu or Talisa Fawaga here a lot at number 10. With the recent trade for Morgan Moses and the signing for Tyron Smith, they definitely still could go tackle, but I don't think they will go tackle in the top 10 since they just got 2 starting offensive tackles. So I think this resorts to skill position, and I think there's no other better pick for them at 10 than Brock Bowers. I mean, it was my pick in the first mock draft that Brock Bowers would be a Jet, and I'm making it happen again. There's still a chance, I think, that the Jets go and try and get maybe T. Higgins from a trade. I also think the Chargers are a pretty good candidate for that as they are wide receiver needing. Their starting wide receiver is Quentin Johnston and Joshua Palmer. They are also without a tight end, so we could see them go tight end. Brock Bowers, I think, just fits well with the Jets, and with Aaron Rodgers especially coming back, they're getting him the protection he needs in the backfield through free agency. I think they're prioritizing. I think they're doing that so they can go skill in the draft. So Brock Bowers at number 10. Number 11 to the Chargers. You could go different ways here. You could say maybe they go defense. Maybe they trade this one back again. Maybe they jump up the board for somebody like Brian Thomas or Adonai Mitchell. But I think this is where you go and say, hey, Joe Alt's been looked at a lot. I'm going to actually look at another tackle and keep Herbert protected. And that guy that I'm going to keep Herbert protected with is Talisa Fuaga. I think he's one of the better offensive linemen in this draft. One of the best, in the draft. I love watching his film, and unfortunate for the Raiders because I've been giving him to the Raiders a ton recently, and he'd be a great fit for them. I just think the Chargers, if they trade back, will go offensive line with their first of the 2 picks. But Talisa Fuaga to Los Angeles to protect Herbert. And now at number 12 to the Denver Broncos. I've been going corner a lot at this spot. I think I switch it up here. Their corner depth is not great, but their edge rusher depth is even worse. It's awful. So I think they go Jared Verse, who's an absolute stud at edge out of Florida State. And I mean, he shined at the combine. The Broncos haven't really done much to solve this edge rushing position. So I think Jared Verse to the Broncos is a fantastic fit for them, and he'll be very dangerous in the AFC West with some pretty decent quarterbacks that he'll be playing against. So Number 13 now to the Raiders. I think this is where the first corner comes off the board. It's going to be Quinyon Mitchell, who became my CB1 pretty recently after the Combine. It used to be Terrion Arnold. It is now Quinyon Mitchell. I think his show of strength and speed and athleticism just really is kind of proving that just because he played at Toledo doesn't mean he has inflated numbers. The numbers are true. You look at another guy from a Group of 5 school, Sauce Gardner, who played at Cincinnati. Cincinnati was in the American when he was there, so that was a Group of 5 school. And look how he's been doing in the NFL this year. He was the number 4 overall pick in the draft when he was drafted. So I think Quinyon Mitchell's a great first corner off the board for the Raiders, especially an Antonio Pierce-led team, defensive-minded guy as well. He'll be great for Vegas. 14 to the Saints. I think they get probably one of the better valued players at the pick of number 14. It's Olufishanu. The fact that he's dropping a 14 is pretty crazy to me because he is a fantastic tackle. And the big thing is the left tackle position for the Saints. And what is Fashanu known and fantastic at? Left tackle. So he's a match made in heaven, I would say. I've been saying that about Troy Fautanu because, the whole tackle guard thing. You could move Trevor Penning to guard and keep Fautanu at tackle, or you could swap it around if you draft him. But I think Fashanu at left tackle, just completely revamping it, changing that. No need to go D-line at 14. You just signed Chase Young, who I think is going to be a good addition for them. Obviously, some of the other spots on the D-line need some improvement. But I just think Olufishanu is the right way to go. So, 15 to the Colts. We're going to have another corner off the board. It's going to be Terrion Arnold once again. I've said it a lot about this guy. Not the most impressive 40-yard dash for a corner, especially with Quinyon running like a 4.33, and then Wiggins running a 4.28 or something. Whatever, it was 4.28, 4.29. He's still, I think, perfect for the Colts to go second corner off the board, and I like him a lot. The playmaking ability is the big thing. So, at number 16 now to the Seahawks, the very middle of the draft. It's been verse for a couple mock drafts, but we're going back to what I did in one of my mock drafts. It's going to be Troy Fautanu to the Seahawks. He's available. You get him. He can play tackle. He can play guard. I think they move him to guard, and that's going to be their biggest need this during the offseason, and developing a guard is huge. Troy Fautanu is the guy that can do it. So stays in Seattle, and he'll be fantastic for him. They just got Sam Howell from a trade, who I think has the potential to be the QB of the future in Seattle after Geno Smith is done, because I really like Sam Howell. Sorry. I think Washington gave up on him too quick, but if he jumps into that role and Fautanu's there, it's going to be fantastic. So Fautanu at 16. 17, I've been thinking interior defensive line, until they signed Arik Armstead, who is getting there up in age. I still think that the corner position is more valuable to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the draft. They filled a lot of they didn't really fill, but they really tried to target and attack certain needs in the offseason. And they got some, but the one that they didn't was defensive back. They got Darnell Savage, but they didn't really get a good corner. And that's where I think Nate Wiggins comes into play at number 17. He is that good corner. He's that fast, speedy corner, and a guy who can guard anybody with his legs, basically, not even with strength and hands, with his legs. So Nate Wiggins, 17 of Jacksonville, helps you target that problem, and that is where Jacksonville will go. 18 to Cincinnati now. 3 different things you could go. D-line, losing DJ Reader, tackle, or tight end. Obviously, tight end is really the only instance of this happening is if Bowers drops to 18, which I don't see happening. I think you go tackle here, and I think you go with Mr. J.C. Latham, the athletic, not athletic, sorry, well, yeah, I guess you could say kind of athletic, but he's a specimen, gigantic, just like Amarius Mims, and he's going to be huge for protecting Joe Burrow. Obviously, a little rivalry there, Alabama LSU guys, but I mean they're going to be on the same team together in Cincinnati. And getting Joe Burrow protection is always going to be a great thing to do for the Bengals, keeping that guy safe. Maybe with T. Higgins leaving, you could see the wide receiver, if he actually does get traded, see the wide receiver pick here. I don't see it. I think tackle's more important. But 19 to the Rams now. I'm not even going to think about it. With the retirement of Aaron Donald, Byron Murphy is going to be a Los Angeles Ram if he is at 19. He very well could still go up in front of that. I think plenty of these teams could use interior D-line, and Byron Murphy is a fantastic player. The one that I don't agree with on here is the Raiders. I think that since Christian Wilkins is on the squad, maybe not the other D-lineman so great. But Byron Murphy is available here. You just lost arguably the greatest defensive player of all time, probably behind Lawrence Taylor and maybe Dion, but you just lost Aaron Donald. You go and get another stud at defensive line in the first round with Byron Murphy. So not much to worry about there, I would say. Number 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one has been a toss-up for me because on one hand, you can go Jackson Powers-Johnson, who I've been thinking they'll go because they need a center. On the other hand, tackle is starting to become a rising concern for this team. So you would say, hey, maybe they go Amarius Mims. But for now, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go Jackson Powers-Johnson. I just love him as a prospect. I think him and Amarius Mims are very interchangeable between 20 and 21, which is going to lead me to my next pick, which is Amarius Mims. But Jackson Powers-Johnson is just a solidified first-round center. There's a lot of teams that need center. So he'll be 21. Amarius Mims to, the Dolphins. Offensive tackle from Georgia. The big concern is his lack of playing time, but he still looks good. I think he looks great, and he'll be good for Miami. Now at 22, I'm gonna have another trade consider here. I've been doing it a lot. I won't do it this time. I've been considering it a lot. I think Philly could possibly trade somewhere and get some assets somewhere. Who knows with them? They're always cooking something up in the front office. But I think Cooper DeJean is going to be the pick for them here. They did just get C.J. Gardner-Johnson after he signed with the Lions last year, coming back to Philly. You get another defensive back in the draft and really just try to revamp that defense, especially the secondary that's aging. You get Cooper DeJean, who is very, very flexible. He's a very flexible player that can play a lot of positions. So I think that's a great fit for Philadelphia, is Cooper DeJean at 22. Now at 23, this is why I have them trading back, because they get their offensive lineman at 11, and now they're going to get their wide receiver at 23 in Brian Thomas Jr., teammate of who I think they might draft if they stay at 5, which is Malik Neighbors. So Brian Thomas Jr. I'm really high on. I really enjoy watching him play. I think he's great. But he's probably on a little lower-ish tier. He's not, I'm not saying he's so much worse, but I wouldn't compare him as a bona fide top 10 guy like these other 3 guys are. I think Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze, if they fall out of the top 10, it's honestly going to be a shock. So Brian Thomas Jr. is still a great wide receiver. You get Herbert, another weapon. Hopefully Quentin Johnson can start developing after a poor rookie season, and maybe trade for T. Higgins and start building up that wide receiver core again, especially after clearing house of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Now at number 24 to the Dallas Cowboys, I think the biggest concern for me now is offensive line. I did give them Brian Thomas Jr. last time. I think they need to really focus on the O-line, losing their starting center, losing Tyron Smith, just losing two of their starters on the offensive line. Getting a new offensive lineman in the draft would be crucial, and I think Graham Barton's going to fit that role because he can play tackle and center, which are their two needs. So, now at 25 to the Packers, Mr. Cooper DeJean is not here, and which I have been giving to him a lot recently. This time, I talked about him last mock. I think he's very possibly going to be a first-round pick, and in this case, he will be. I think it's going to be Tyler Nubin. Safety is a big position for the Packers. They just did sign Xavier McKinney from New York, but you get another young guy in that secondary to play the other safety position. That's a great safety duo if Nubin really plays up to what I think he's going to be. So that's something that they shouldn't worry about, Packers fans, if they get Nubin. So 25. Now at the next pick, I think it's going to be a trade up by Detroit. I'm going to force the trade here. And the reason they're going to trade up is because there's a guy that they want to get who has the medical concerns, but they want to make sure that he doesn't go off the board. Very reasonable, very possible that Tampa Bay could get him and stick at 26. I've just done it every mock draft, it seems like. Leatu Latu to the Lions. I think they jump the Cardinals on purpose because the Cardinals, if he's at 27, will get him. Making it so I think Latu, Johnny Newton might go to the Lions at 29 if that happens. But I think they jump the Cardinals so they get their guy in Latu, and then that forces the Cardinals at 27 to go to Jerzon Newton out of Illinois. So I think that's just how that's going to roll if that trade up possibly happens. Mock drafts experimenting. So Jerzon Newton at 27. The fact that talented of a player is at 27 and available at 27 is going to be the reason why Arizona sees him on the draft board still and doesn't even think about it, puts their pick in instantly. And he will be the last pick for the Cardinals in the first round. And we'll move on to 28 now, which is the Buffalo Bills. It's not changing. It's Adonai Mitchell. He is just, I'm big on him, and he's going to be fantastic for Buffalo, fantastic for Josh Allen, and a great wide receiver too if they do keep Stephon Diggs. But I could see maybe a draft day trade where they trade Stephon Diggs for a first-round pick and maybe get someone better. Get some other pieces as well. Get a tackle, get some defense, but who knows? And Adonai Mitchell, regardless, will be great with Josh Allen. 29 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think I'm going to go offensive line now. Interior O-line, exactly, with Zach Frazier. I'm pretty sure I went Latu at 26 to Tampa Bay and Zach Frazier 29 to the Lions last time. I'm just flopping it and making them trade. And Latu 26 to the Lions and Frazier 29 to the Bucs. So he'll be good for keeping Baker safe. I like Zach Frazier. I think I think Graham Barton, first off, is going to be a good center if he has to play center. I think Jackson Powers-Johnson's the best center, but Zach Frazier is a late first round, early second round guy. So I think he slots in perfectly at 29. Now at 30, I've been going wide receiver a lot. Last time I went Ladd McConkey. This time I'm going to go offensive line. And the reason I'm going to do that is Tyler Guyton's available. I think they focus on the offensive line, especially after getting rid of Morgan Moses, sending him to the Jets. Losing your right tackle, slide Tyler Guyton, who played great at Oklahoma at right tackle, right in that spot. Start him right away, and he will develop with a great team. So I think Tyler Guyton, number 30, to the Baltimore Ravens. Now 31 to the San Francisco 49ers. Offensive line or corner is on the board. It's an option. I think that it's going to be corner. I'm going to stick with the guy that I did last time, TJ Tampa, out of Iowa State. And as I said, I looked into him more and I started liking him more and more. I think he's a better prospect than some of the corners right here, like Lassiter, McKinstry. And McKinstry's been dropping on my board. Tampa's been rising up, and that's why I give Tampa the reasoning to jump into the first round. Is I think he's rising. I think he's going to continue rising. People are going to see more about him. Say, if San Francisco doesn't see an offensive lineman, maybe they jump on Jordan Morgan, get him in the end of the first round. They don't see a guy they like. TJ Tampa's right there for him. So, 32 now to wrap off our draft. I think I'm going to stick with it. If there's any team that's going to jump the board for this guy, it's going to be the Chiefs. They want that speed demon. It's going to be Xavier Worthy at number 32. And that is going to wrap up the first round. The Super Bowl champs getting themselves a wide receiver alongside Rashee Rice with Travis Kelce. He's getting old too. But that wraps up the first round. And that's also going to wrap up my mock draft. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a little, sorry, it was a little small changes, not too big of changes. I felt like I was losing my voice midway through the video, but let me know what you guys think about this mock draft. What you think is going to happen, what's not going to happen, who you agree with, disagree with, who your team you think your team's going to take, if I took them already for that team, or if you don't agree with my team, do the whole things. And then also make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button. As I said, it's free. I'm trying to hit 200 by the end of April. And once again, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all in the next one when we are doing our next draft profiles. Peace out.